This is Yusuf Bوناجي, a teacher of English. Today we are talking about Unit 7, Ecology, Gateway to English, First Back, all streams. And the lesson today is Conditional Type 2 Grammar. Unit 7, Ecology, Grammar is Conditional Type 2, or the second conditional as we call it. So now we will talk, or we will take those wishes one step further and imagine the result, or imagine what would happen if they were currently true. This is the second conditional. So if you still remember, in the functions we talked about this situation. So this is the form of the conditional type 2. It's if plus past simple plus would plus bare infinitive. So if you still remember this example, I live near the beach. If I want to express my wish, I express it like this, as you know. I wish plus past simple near the beach. So I wish I lived near the beach. But if I want to imagine other things or imagine what would happen, okay? So I can use this form to imagine. So I use the past, but the situation is unreal, and I mean the present. I don't mean the past even if I use it. That's why we call this past unreal past. So we use it like this. If I lived near the mountains, I would go hiking every weekend. So I just imagine the situation. So if I lived, I would go. This is the form. To give you other explanation, if I had a lot of money, I would buy a big house. So this is the condition. If I had a lot of money, I use the past, but I mean now. That's why we call it unreal. Okay? So if I had a lot of money, this is the condition. The result is I would buy a big house, but I don't have the money, so I'm just imagining. So if I knew his number, I would, this is the short form, I'd phone him, but I don't know his phone number. So we have two clauses. The if clause, which means the clause that has if, and the main clause. So in the if clause, I use the simple past, had, knew, and in the main clause, I can use would, might, could, plus verb in the infinitive. I give you examples with would first. So we use would when the result is more definite and certain. Like if Peter asked Karen, she would say yes. So I'm a bit certain about this. And I use might when the result may or may not happen. So I'm not sure about it. If Peter asked Karen out, she might say yes or she might say no. I'm not sure, so I use might, not would. And the last is could. We use could to talk about possibilities or abilities. For example, if I had $1 million, I could buy a helicopter, or I could live in a mansion, or I could live in a mansion, or I could quit my job if I had $1 million, of course. Second conditional here, there's another situation. Jack wants to buy a house, but he cannot do this because he doesn't have any money. So if I had a lot of money, I would buy a big house. So that's what Jack would say. So if plus past plus would plus verb. Or we can use it as a wish. I wish I had a lot of money to buy a house. Okay, so there is when you are talking about second conditional and expression wishes, it's imagining, so we can use both of them in these cases. Another situation, Susan wants to visit Anna, but she can't do this because she doesn't know her address. So if I knew her address, I would visit her, but I don't know her address. Okay, so I'm just imagining what would happen. Or I can say, if only I knew her address. This is practice the second conditional. Complete the sentences with verbs in the correct tense. Pay attention to which part of the sentence is the condition and which part is the result. So here, if the verb eat a healthy breakfast, you have more energy. As we said, if is plus the past and plus would plus verb. So if you ate a healthy breakfast, you would have more energy. Second one, I call him if I have his address. I can't say here I called, use the past. No, we use would, okay, because this is the result clause or the main clause, and here is the if clause in which we use the past. So I would call him if I had his number. Another one is if he, the past of to be. As we said, we use were with the second conditional, not was. If he were more organized, he would not forget so many things. This is the negative, so the negative goes with would. I can say wouldn't or would not. Last sentence is we, a larger house, if we, more money, of course. We would buy a larger house if we had more money. So we use would plus verb with the main clause and if plus past simple with the if clause. So we are still with Unit 7, Ecology, writing a formal letter. So we are talking about letters. Of course, we have a sender, the person who sends the letter, and the receiver, the person who receives the letter. And the letters, they have a form that we should respect. Okay, so we have this example as the form of a letter. So we start, of course, with the address. This is just an example. You can write your address. The date, today's date, it's also an example. Greeting, dear sir or madam. You can also say the name or use the name, dear Mr. X or dear Mrs. or Miss X. This is an introduction. I hope you're doing well. I'm writing to you because I want to complain. So in the introduction, you can socialize like this. You can say, I hope you are doing well, and then you can say the purpose of your letter or why you are writing. So I'm writing to you because I want to, okay? And then here, because we are complaining, we can use the complaint. The factory that was built last year near our village is polluting the lake. I am really tired of this, and people here are angry about the situation. The toxic emissions are harmful to the lake, the environment, and animals of the region. So this is an example of a complaint, and then you can express your wish. I wish you could do something to solve this problem. The closing, best regards. This is one example of them, and then your signature, which means you write your name. So this is in general the form of a letter. Here it's like a homework for you to write about air pollution. Okay, so these are some causes of air pollution. We have here natural causes like volcanoes and wildfires, forests, the city, also the smoke of the vehicles. So this is an area, city, livestock, fertilizer, gas and oil. Stationary, which means the places that are in one place, they don't move, like industry, power plants, sewage treatment. And mobile, which means the things that move, like cars, airplanes, trucks, buses and motorbikes. So you can think of the causes or the problems of air pollution and write a letter. You write the address, the date, dear, if you know the name, use it. This is just the form. I'm just presenting or showing you the form. I hope you are doing well. I'm writing to you because I have a complaint. You explain the complaint, you express your wish, best regards, and then you use your name or the signature. So that's the letter, and that's the form that you can use to write it at home. You have the time to do that. You think of the problems of air pollution, and then you write a letter to complain about that. Thank you so much. Stay at home and stay safe.